from the Trinidad. Location, 7 miles off the coast of Venezuela. SOS, SOS, Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. Help! Help! The Trinidad, a luxury liner, sailing the Caribbean Sea, with an old captain named Eric Williams. Oh yes, it's smooth and free, but sadly Eric Williams passed away. The ship hit rough water that day. Someone turned the bridge over to a captain named Chambers. Me blood crawl, things start to fall. Hold me head when I sail a ball. Captain, the ship is sinking. Captain, the seas are rough. Oh yes, we gas tank almost empty, no electricity. We oil pressure reading low. Shall we abandon ship, or shall we stay on it and perish slow? We don't know, we don't know. Captain, you tell me what to do. Whoa, whoa. The Trinidad, oh, she was a beauty, with wealth that few surpassed. And in her day, she sailed majestically. There were few in her class. Faithfully she fulfilled her sailor's need. Some were overpowered by greed, and so they pilfered slow. Some took by bulk and go. Now she looked dull, she's at a lull. She could barely sit on her hull. Captain, the ship is sinking. Captain, the seas are rough. Oh yes, we gas tank almost empty, no electricity. We oil pressure reading low. Shall we abandon ship, or shall we stay on it and perish slow? We don't know, we don't know. Captain, you tell me what to do. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Trinidad, in her day of sailing, she was a friend to one and all. She never once ever hesitated to answer all SOS calls. And yes, well, she always did her best to help out those in distress. Now it's so sad to see she's in difficulties. Though she helped cheer, some of them cheer and sarcastically declare, Captain, the ship is sinking. Captain, the seas are rough. We gas tank almost empty, no electricity. We oil pressure reading low. Shall we abandon ship, or shall we sit on it and perish slow? We don't know, we don't know. Captain, you tell me what to do. Whoa, whoa. If only there was something I could have done to restore the credibility of this beautiful vessel. Money's no problem. Now there's a lot of fingers pointing, suspicion running strong. Who's to be blamed for all her failures? Who's to be blamed for doing her wrong? Now please remember, I'm warning you, for to the air she had the same crew who hold the keys to her vault. So we know who's at fault. Now it's up to you, it's up to me to make her worthy to go back to sea. Captain, the ship is sinking. Captain, the seas are rough. Oh yes, we a stand called most empty, no electricity. We oil pressure reading low. Shall we abandon ship or shall we stay on it and perish slow? We don't know, we don't know. Captain, you tell me what to do. We don't know, we don't know. Captain, you tell me, oh yo yo. We don't know, we don't know. You tell me, oh, we don't know, we don't know. Put up a flag, oh gosh, we don't know. When we turn to the World Bank for help, oh, oh, I oh. We don't know, we don't know, we don't know. Somebody put an application to the World Bank. Probably we may get some help to do the repairs. We don't know, we don't know, we don't know.
Welcome to Nightcap. I'm your hostess, Lioness, and tonight's episode will be featuring the officially published manifesto for the Positive Progression for People Party. That's the PPP Party. Now, anyone listening can correct me if I'm wrong, but I have not seen any official manifestos from any of the other parties yet. So, if you are listening, feel free to let me know if I'm right about that or if they have already been circulating manifestos for the existing parties. Um, I do find this very odd because we are in the 7th month of what is supposed to be Montserrat's official election year. I don't know, perhaps they need a little inspiration from the PPP party. But in any case, let's get into it. Now, I would like to draw your attention to, or for at least those people who are unaware, that the PPP party is sanctioned by the people of Montserrat to push the people's agenda forward. I want to make you officially conscious of the party's motto, which is united we stand and divided we starve. Now, the concept of oppression is a pervasive and complex issue that affects individuals and communities worldwide and remains especially true when we're talking about the British Overseas Territory of Montserrat. Now, in the context of Montserrat, the struggle for liberation is particularly relevant. Left to fend for ourselves, the citizens formed and sanctioned their own political party, Positive Progression for People, or PPP. PPP now stands at the forefront, preparing to hold the front line of this struggle. Charging forward and working towards the progression of the oppressed nationals of Montserrat. Now, Montserrat's oppression takes many forms, including economic, cultural, and political domination. In the case of Montserrat, the history of colonialism and imperialism continues to impact on our island's social and economic structures, consistently perpetuating systems of oppression, discrimination, and social inequity. PPP's manifesto emphasizes the need for a more equitable distribution of resources, the protection of human rights, ensuring a guaranteed standard of living, and the empowerment of marginalized communities. The PPP party will work toward the dismantling of oppressive systems and structures. This includes challenging the legacy of colonialism, imperialism, as well as addressing the ongoing impact of these systems on our island's social and economic structures. We will promote the development of alternative systems and structures that prioritize the needs and interests of the vulnerable members of our community. This includes the establishment of community based organizations and initiatives that provide support and resources to marginalized communities. The PPP's objectives are motivated by the desire for positive progression of our people and is centered around our fight against oppression, colonialism, classism, and the promotion of social and economic equity and justice. Now, I want to address where we actually are today. All right. And if we're going to make any progress, then we need to actually be aware of what our current situation is and the reality of that situation. Now, Montserrat citizens are currently experiencing a 30-year long and counting natural disaster. Our country still needs basic infrastructure in order to begin our journey of rebirth to financial independence. Excuse me. Now, Montserrat's economic future remains uncertain, facing significant challenges in rebuilding our economy and infrastructure. Our reliance on aid and our fragile, almost non existent infrastructure makes us very vulnerable to external shocks, and our economic recovery is expected to be a long and difficult process. But it is not an impossible one. We, the citizens of Montserrat, have earned, that is, we've learned many painful lessons over the past 30 years. Instead of allowing the nails to be hammered into our coffin, we placed those nails between our teeth and stood our ground confidently using our resilience. That's what got us here today, our tenacity and unwavering faith in our Father Yah and love for our country. We have made mistakes and bad decisions. This, we the people now acknowledge. One of those bad decisions included people mistakenly believing intentional lies spoken by our repeatedly elected government representatives, the individuals we respected and trusted the most with our lives and our future. Now, every 5 years, we move the people on the left side of the table to the right side of the table, and we place the people on the right side of the table to the left side of the table, and we continue expecting our government, with our fingers crossed, to make the changes that we, the people, demand. But they never do. They never did. And they still do not. 30 years later, and it is now obvious that all of our elected government representatives have all indulged and enjoyed their lavish lifestyle at the expense of the lives of the public of Montserrat. Based on actions speaking louder than words, the reality for the public of Montserrat is that this is an election year. And every election year, the priority of the current ruling government, or anyone who has been previously elected to government, is to receive money to maintain their now acquired and accustomed to lifestyle. We have never been their priority. Now, here's what these individuals I just described need to know. We, the people of Montserrat, no longer desire their representation. This is why the PPP party was established and sanctioned by the public of Montserrat. It is indeed a party by the people and for the people. All hope is not lost. The real question is, where are we going? Now, the citizens of Montserrat have been tasked, that is, they've tasked the PPP party with submitting a public referendum demanding full control of the laws and the legislative constructs of a currently professed democratic society. The PPP party is prepared to implement economic incentive packages for monstrations that live on island full time. The PPP party will initiate constitutional reform that introduces accountability to the public of Montserrat and removes the blanket immunity that is currently being implemented and practiced. Now, that's where I should say that's the background work. The constitutional reform, that is the background work. But there is still other incentives like PPP's intention and um, manifesto agenda to redistribute resources to the people that are currently being mismanaged and misappropriated. Okay? Now, the stimulus package will provide essential direct results that the public of Montserrat will be able to see, feel, and touch. So let's discuss PPP's economic stimulus plan for Montserrat. With positive progression for the people of Montserrat in mind, PPP intends to implement stimulus packages for the private citizens of Montserrat. Now, these stimulus packages will provide essential resources that will directly address our economic priorities, which include increased individual income, increased consumer spending power, and population growth. Now, I know those were a whole lot of big words. So here is a simplified version of what I just said. Part of the stimulus package will be putting $2,500 cash into your bank account. That is the bank account of every individual citizen that lives in Montserrat that is above the age of 18 and is of working age. That's what I'm saying. Now, being a party formed by the people and made up of representatives that come right out of the heart of the people, the PPP party is very well aware of the extensive and unique innovations that reside in the hearts of the people of this exceptional country. Montserrat is the place where trailblazers, inventors, trendsetters, and risk takers are born. That is who we were, Montserrat. We held up the front line. I want you to know that I am determined to reignite the fire of national pride that once roared with the force of a mighty wildfire and showcased Montserrat throughout the world. Montserrat, together we will rise. We will ascend to reclaim our rightful position. PPP is willing to take what others may refer to as a calculated risk of investing in the sections of our community that is actively participating in the resurrection of our failing economy. PPP knows that the people of Montserrat are intelligent, crafty, innovative, and resilient. PPP also knows that the people with these type of characteristics are people who only need the tools. PPP is confident that with the right tools, the people of Montserrat will do what they do naturally. The people of Montserrat will begin to reinforce weak spots, fill in holes, rebuild what was lost, and apply lessons learned to make sure no mistakes are repeated. That is who we are, Montserrat. I personally will not allow you to forget this. I will not. We are charging forward together. By providing this economic stimulus package to monstrations physically residing in our country on a full time basis, our diaspora, currently distributed throughout the globe, will now have an excellent incentive to initiate a mass relocation exodus back home to Montserrat, where they are loved, needed, respected, and welcomed. PPP anticipates that a deliberate and practical investment into each adult working aged monstration resident will provide each person with a fair and fighting chance to explore, develop, and experience real personal and professional growth, development, dreams, and goals. Because the bottom line is that our country will benefit immediately and long term, way into the future, by these moves that we will make today. At the same time, these cash based stimulus packages will provide each citizen with the necessary security needed to continue to face an unpredictable future of living with an active volcano in a fragile economy. Not to mention that as a result of the implementation of these stimulus packages, PPP will subsequently launch capital projects that include community styled housing accommodations to offer to displaced monstrations. Any monstration living on Montserrat will be able to apply for these housing accommodations, and if accepted, will be charged based on the total household income. Clearly, if we are inviting our people to come back home, they will need somewhere to settle in and start rebuilding their lives, as they do genuinely deserve to do. As a result, construction projects will be an urgent priority in an effort to accommodate monstrations currently displaced in Montserrat or forced to live in deplorable conditions. Thereafter, we will continue to construct and provide living accommodations for monstrations returning home to meet that demand, because they have been motivated to do so by our now existing stimulus packages that provide a security blanket of $2,500 to ensure that a basic level of acceptable living, excuse me, is available to them in Montserrat. The PPP party recognizes the economic hardships and consumer pressure that the people of Montserrat have been exposed to in the past 30 years. PPP also acknowledges that Montserrat innovators are in desperate need of consumer and consumption tax reforms and business incentives, resulting in practical reductions and revocations of taxes while boosting the private sector environment towards a successful recovery. In order to ensure that Montserrat is provided with a nourishing environment that will ensure that our economic activity restarts and flourishes, each adult monstration living in Montserrat will receive that stimulus package that is essentially a personal direct investment by your government into your individual and unique potential. These incentives will directly benefit individual citizens and families instead of just some select businesses and individuals. Not to mention, PPP will create and maintain economic and efficient export services that caters to our entrepreneurs and small to medium sized enterprise. For a society to truly address the issues, the problems, and the obstacles challenging their very survival, the members of that society, um, they expect that their elected leaders will be able or have what it is required or possess, should I say, the capacity to actually identify the issues, problems, obstacles, and challenges being faced by their citizens. Our problem in Montserrat is that for the past 30 years, we, the people of Montserrat, have continued to rely on the same individuals to save us. Our problem was that we were expecting the same people to do what is essentially keeping the same promises that they made to us 30 years ago and have continued to repeat to us every 5 years since. Rinse and repeat. The good news is that this is a description of where we were. The very existence of the PPP party is proof that the people of Montserrat are reclaiming the future destiny of our country. Having said that, then the first step we need to take to reclaim our country is to recognize and make it known that we recognize that anyone who has been elected into government or into opposition in the last 30 years has had too much time to get it right and did not get it right. In fact, take an honest recollection into your mind of where Montserrat is right now and tell me if they have even been able to get Montserrat restarted. The past 30 years could best be referred to as duds. We lack representation on a local level, and we lack representation to place the people's agenda before the crown. We lack complete control of our own laws and legislations and our natural resources. We are being denied fundamental benefits as UK citizens living in Montserrat. For the past 30 years, every government that we have elected by majority vote has failed to hold the United Kingdom and the Crown to account of their role of neglecting legal obligations that are currently being maintained and playing an active part in the demise of our nation. Our country does not currently have the ability to have its voice heard before the Crown or before the UK Parliament. Our country does not participate in the decision making processes that directly and indirectly impact us as citizens of Montserrat and as citizens of the UK. None of our past elected government representatives made the needs of the people a priority. We lack accountability of public funds and public spending. We lack essential public services that include transportation, education, medical services, legal services, social services, and housing. In the past 30 years, there has been a complete lack of effort and a deliberate lack of action on the part of every elected government that is composed of members of MCAP, PDM, MUA, and NPM. Every individual that has previously served the public of Montserrat in the capacity of an elected government representative or an elected opposition member completely lacks credibility and have demonstrated clearly that they lack the skills and the competence necessary to address the pressing issues that Montserrat continues to face some 30 years later. We, the people, lack the desire to vote for anyone that does not show solidarity to the PPP party formed by the people and sanctioned by the people. We, the people, lack confidence in potential political candidates and demand that you show solidarity now. We demand you demonstrate your commitment to the people by publicly claiming solidarity with PPP. Finally, here is the blaring fact that every voting citizen of Montserrat cannot ignore, and that is we, the people, right as of this very moment, are completely clueless about MCAP, PDM, MUA, and MPM's plans moving forward. We lack any details about what MCAP, PDM, MUA, and NPM plan to do to fix current day Montserrat. We have heard none of them. By them, I mean MCAP, the leader of PDM and some members of PDM, the leader of and some members of MUA, the leader and some members of NPM. They, them. I have heard none of them acknowledge publicly or take responsibility publicly for the part that each of them have played and in some instances continue to play right now in the destruction of our country. Hmm? Thus, on behalf of the people, the answer is no. Absolutely not. No. We are no longer the people we used to be. The voting public of Montserrat rejects any political party or political candidate that has been previously elected as a member of any past or current government or opposition representative. Moving forward, we demand public transparency and accountability. This is and will remain non negotiable. Having said that, if you are an individual that is seriously considering running in the upcoming general elections in Montserrat, and you do not match the previous description of individuals, the voting public of Montserrat invites you and demands that you publicly show your solidarity and your commitment to the people of Montserrat. and their personal commitment towards positive progression. This demands that every potential candidate is being made out of necessity. It is as a direct result of the lack of credibility and destruction of any existing trust over the last 30 years, while the people are now setting the terms and conditions of their required vote. We have learned the true value and power of a vote. And in the general elections, which are upcoming, we, the people of Montserrat, are prepared to demonstrate the true power of our votes. We now demand a public demonstration of commitment. Taking your word is no longer sufficient. Moving forward, there is no room or tolerance for internal politicking, sabotage, or political agendas. There is no longer any room of this being utilized in the official governance of our people. And that did need to be said for the record. The people of Montserrat demand an elected government obligated through an existing and functional democratic process to represent the demands and needs of the public's sanctioned agenda, demonstrated by enacting initiatives demanded by the public. We, the people, have every intention of holding our soon to be elected leader of the PPP party and team accountable for pushing the sanctioned mandate of the public of Montserrat forward. And for the record, the PPP party proudly accepts this challenge. Now, as the leader of the PPP party, I would like to leave you with this personal message. As we prepare to celebrate the incredible strides we will be taking as individuals and as a collective nation, we stand at a threshold of a new era where boundaries of what's possible are being pushed and the horizon of what's achievable is expanding. We've come a long way, but we're not done yet. We face challenges, overcome obstacles, and persevered through adversity. We've learned to adapt, to innovate, and to evolve. And through it all, we've discovered that our greatest strength lies not in our individual accomplishments, but in our collective progressive movements forward. We found our purpose, and it's driving us to take huge steps forward. We've discovered our passion, our values, and our convictions are fuel that propels us towards a brighter future. We've learned to listen to our inner voice, to trust our instincts, and to stay true to ourselves. We've faced setbacks, and we've bounced back. We've been knocked down, and we've gotten back up. We've learned to dust ourselves off, to regroup, and to refocus. We've discovered that resilience is not the absence of challenges, but the ability to overcome them. We've come to realize that we're stronger together. We've learned to work in harmony, to support one another, to lift each other up. We've discovered that our differences are not weaknesses, but strengths, and that our diversity is the key to our collective success. As we look to the future, we see a world of endless possibilities. We see a world where technology and innovation are shaping our reality, where creativity and imagination are limitless, and where humanity is coming together to build a better tomorrow. So let us continue to take huge steps forward, to push the boundaries of what's possible, and to inspire one another to reach new heights. Let's remember that progress is not a destination, but a journey, and that every carefully thought out and calculated step we take brings us closer to a brighter, more hopeful future. Together, we can achieve anything. We are the architects of our own destiny. We are the masters of our own fate. Together, we can achieve anything. So let us seize this moment of our lives. Let us embrace the power of progress, and let us take the next huge steps forward together. With our majority vote, we can manifest our future by deciding on the right government to captain the course of our goals and our objectives. Now, unlike most, unlike most, I am now going to take us to a timeline, the actually officially projected timeline for the PPP party's short term goals, midterm goals, and long term goals. Now, the PPP party's short term goals include the following: an accredited education for every student, with every graduate receiving an accredited diploma that can be used and is accepted worldwide at all tertiary institutions, with formal certified training for all of our existing teachers that are currently employed by our education system, the implementation of an effective and efficient national defense, the initiation and implementation of a public 24/7 bus transportation system, the implementation of cost of living regulation policies and procedures, the initiation and consistent provision of basic and modern medical services, the initiation of private sector initiatives for global exports, the purchase of a suitable ferry that provides access not only to Antigua, but to various islands in the Caribbean on a regularly scheduled basis. Initiate the first stages of our new constitutional reform. Initiate negotiations of a trade agreement with the United Kingdom, the correction and continuation of a viable port, and the expeditious implementation of the construction process of the approved hospital project. PPP's medium-term goals include the implementation of a 24/7 public, that is, the correct word is the initiation of the 24/7 public rail transportation system for Montserrat, the implementation of the newly approved reformed constitution, the initiation of the design proposals for the projected island-wide rail transportation system, the initiation of the design project for a vocational/technical college, and the launch of private sector initiatives to prepare for the consistent export of quality products globally by our entrepreneurs and small to medium-sized businesses. And finally, PPP's long-term goals include an operational and internationally certified airport, a fully integrated 24/7 island-wide public rail transportation system, and the official launch of Montserrat's rail transportation system's modern day Pompeii tour. And finally, but definitely not least, a governor elected by majority vote of Monstratian citizens. Yes, that, ladies and gentlemen, was a deep dive into the currently published and official manifesto of the People's Party. Ladies and gentlemen, as usual, I would like to thank you for taking your time and spending just a little bit of it with me. I hope that you truly enjoyed whatever your favorite choice of drink was. Mine was coffee tonight, and I wish you every success in all your endeavors in the upcoming week. And I hope that you genuinely enjoy the rest of your weekend. Remember, together, united, we stand. Divided, we starve. Thank you for joining me. And thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your evening.